Steve Yag, famous Google Amazon tech lead, the death of the junior engineer. Hey, thank you, trying to keep up. Appreciate that delicious one. And it's from SourceGraph. SourceGraph, they're very talented engineers over at the SourceGraph, over at the SourceGraphs. All right, the death of the junior engineer. This blog post is somewhat speculative. The sky might not be falling, but my spidey sense is definitely tinkling. The way we are all doing our jobs in software is changing, potentially in big ways. So let's think of this as a thought exercise. This guy's writing is great. Okay, I'm happy to hear this. I'm worried that this is just going to be AI is going to change the world, and that's that. But let's see what happens. With that disclaimer, we're off. I've been chatting with a bunch of both junior and senior developer type folk at different companies lately. By articulating these conversations, I've picked up on an emerging new pattern, which is like 80% of you are way smarter than me. My goodness, what have I been doing? But also another pattern, which is that a lot of people picked a bad year to be a junior developer. A whole lot of people. I wouldn't want to be just getting started in today's industry. Yeah, agree. I agree. I agree with that statement. I think that today is a very hard day to get started. I think 4 years ago was a much more amazing time to get started. Today is very, very difficult. Feels bad. Not just the computer industry, any industry. This is like the classic. This right here is just an extremely classic, like I'm an expert at something and I see a trend in something, therefore it applies to everything, which is just not true. Like right now, if you are getting started as like a journeyman electrician, a journeyman carpenter, a journeyman anything to do with the physical realities, your pay has gone up 50, 60, 70% in the last 3 years. Right? You're literally making a way more money doing basic trades job than you ever would. A great move to be in trade right now. It's a great time to be in trade right now, right? Trades are always fake, dude. They're shockingly good. A good year to be a welder, exactly. My electrician brother makes way more than I do. It's wild. It's wild how much money is being made right now in the trades. We're talking like $120, $130 an hour. You can hire certified but not insured electricians for like $60, $70 an hour right now. And that's just them. And I'm in South Dakota. I'm in a place that probably pays less than the average place. Yeah, double in California. Yeah. So right now, only in the U.S., yeah. I only talk about the U.S. I have no idea about the rest of the world. The rest of the world is vastly different. I'm sure there's things in the rest of the world that are completely going great versus in the U.S. going terrible. Anyways, it's just that there are industries that are thriving today. If you are in the building type world, it's wild how much money right now is out there in the U.S. If I was an electrician, I'd charge $200 an hour right now. And the crazy part is you could get away with that. You could actually get away with that. It's a bad year to be a junior anything. My wife Lynn and I are huge horror movie buffs. So to reflect with the somber theme of today's rant, I will use the horror movie titles to introduce the sections. Let's start by talking about what's happening to junior developers. The Purge. F that show. Our first story of the day is about a law firm and has nothing to do with programming, but it indeed centrally relevant to the crisis that is just starting to loom ominously, as crises love to do. My buddy Gene Kim gave me permission to share this story about his friend who is managing partner at a 50-person law firm. Oh boy, strap in. When you need permission to tell a story, this is not going to be a good one. In short, one might surmise that all hell is breaking loose at said law firm because of ChatGPT. I would assume complete opposite. I assume ChatGPT is largely useless in law, great in email communications. I know a lawyer that writes like 80% of it and then tells ChatGPT to kind of like fix up the response to make it more polite to all the things, and then goes back through and retones it into how they write. And like, that's it. You could never do ChatGPT for law. Like, it'd be horrible for law. With some wondering whether the entire structure of their firm, which has been very stable for a long time, might now be completely wrong. Their whole comp structure, pensions, succession planning, everything is going through an existential crisis due to a friggin' chatbot. I'm shocked by that because, like, writing an email and communication is one thing. The law is the law is like programming. You can't be almost right. Like, you can't be 85% correct. It's just not how the law works. That's called going to jail. If you're 80% correct on the law, you are going to jail. Yeah, lawyers struggle with the law because it's extremely difficult. The problem you see is that there could be a future where they don't need junior associates anymore. Increasingly, they don't need senior associates who, A, describe the task to be done, i.e. create prompts, and review the resulting work for accuracy and correctness. The high-end LLVMs do so with tasks normally fielded by junior associate lawyers. There isn't much room left for the real junior associate on the payroll. I wonder how correct this is, because at least I have a few friends that are lawyers, and this is not the sentiment that I'm generally gathering from them, is that chat GPTs are this useful. An LLM could produce research, summaries, briefs, contracts, memos. Dude, contracts would be crazy to use chat GPT. Pleading petitions, anything they need. All the documents it creates are perfect. With these, with the catch that if someone senior doesn't double check the work before before a judge sees it, you might wind up in jail or something. Yeah, old ChatGPT in jail. I got jailed due to ChatGPT. Catching the LLM in a hallucination, catching a junior associate in a mistake. Pretty similar. Really, just two options for generating the same output, except one of those options is fast and tireless and essentially free. The other one puked on the chocolate fountain at the holiday party. Interesting take. I'm still very curious if this is true at all, right? Oddly specific. Oddly specific. Oh, woo. Oh, you picked a bad year to be a junior associate lawyer. That's damn sure. Sorry, graduating class of 2024. Sucks to be you. I'm very curious how true this actually is. Versus, is this just a company that's been sold the goodness of LLMs? You know, because there's a lot of grift in AI. There's a ton of grift in AI that is causing people to be very thinking like the world is actually ending. Everything will just be over. NFT, bro. Very skeptical of the chocolate fountain. Very skeptical of the chocolate fountain. But I do see the general point, which is if as a senior lawyer, I have to review word for word everything a junior writes, and it takes them a week to produce it, why not take 3 minutes to produce something with known failures and flaws and review that? Like, I get the general sentiment, though. Like, I think that makes sense. I think that argument makes a lot of sense. But my guess is that your senior people, it takes them an increasingly larger and more thoughtful approach to everything that an LLM produces in comparison. And then not only that, the junior by the third or fourth task becomes significantly better, right? And so the amount you have to check goes down, 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 down. Whereas, right now, we have no proof that the LLMs are getting any better. People keep saying that ChatGPT 5 is going to be like a PhD student compared to ChatGPT 4 being a high school student. But I would argue that a ChatGPT 4 was not even close to a high school student. ChatGPT 4, my daughter could figure out how many R's are in strawberry versus GPT 4.0, right? And so they like these comparison. It's strawberry. Dude, it's strawberry, right? My daughter's 6. And she knows that bananas aren't a real thing. Let's see. Oh, this is a great. Okay, Air Jordan. Hey, by the way, Air Jordan, your name is fantastic. But second off, historically, we're great at prioritizing short-term profit versus long-term viability. So we should be totally fine. This is facts. We tend to do this pretty often, which is that we believe we see something that could be useful and could save money. Therefore, we go all in on it, and then in a year or two, you realize you effed up, and that company goes under, right? Gene shared the law forum story to illustrate how widespread this problem is. He suggests that the same chaos, which is undoubtedly unfolding across legal firms everywhere, could affect all writing and editorial jobs. You can imagine a world where demand for junior writers and editors starts to evaporate. Market forces are nudging everyone towards having senior writers who are also good prompt engineers. This can make more sense. In the sense that as long as you're not writing, like, again, legal is much different. If you're just writing something, having the availability of a GPT could be good. But even when I tried something. I tried putting in one of my YouTube scripts and asking it to, like, color up the language a little bit, try to, like, add some new words that I don't often use. And what came out had a bunch of words that I don't use, but it just sounded so mediocre. You know what I mean? It's like it had all the words that are amazing, but at the exact same time, it read like such a bore. I don't know how to describe it. It could take the same thing I said and just make it boring. I don't know how it's very, which is fine, I guess, for corporate speak. GPT has a style. Yeah, it's like the most average style. It's soulless. That's probably the best way to put it. It's soulless. It's soulless more than anything else. It's like a gray man from Wheel of Time. You can barely even see it. It takes a very keen eye to look at a gray man. An arrangement that meets all of their needs faster and cheaper than hiring juniors. Gene, as an accomplished and senior author, is delighted with his productivity games from LLM choice, Claude Opus. He showed me a big writing project that he just finished. in which he spent easily 45 plus minutes crafting the prompt, refining it until he had a 7,500 word narrative that he could serve as a starting point for rewriting, editing, and adjustment. In comparison, this blog post is about half that size, and the draft was fantastic. I have read it, and it's glorious. Interesting, interesting. As the wheel wills. I feel like this perspective is missing the forest from the trees. What happens 15 years when all seniors have retired and there's no juniors trained up to replace him? Yeah, I know. I mean, that's exactly it, is that we're making short-term intentional gains now, not realizing the cost. That's not an author. Yeah, that's an editor. And again, remember, if you're editing, so there's this thing called anchor bias, which is very, very important to remember in this. If you use ChatGPT to give you out something, I'm not saying this is bad. You get out something. What happens? You're going to start from there and edit it, which means that you're going to bias or anchor yourself to what's being said, which means that you're not going to stray very far from it, which means that you might just produce really, like, even though you're faster, and totally depends on the mode of communication. Like, if I'm just responding to somebody, like, there's various modes of communication, but if you're doing creative writing, being a standard deviation from the median isn't going to help you, right? Like, that's not what you want to be. You want to be very much more interesting than that. On a good day, Gene can write 1,000 words per day. His estimates is that Claude did for him in 90 minutes what would normally have taken him 10 days. It solves the blank page problem, and it gets him to the 20-yard line where the fun begins. See, I'm curious. I'm very curious about this, because I wonder how average, if we're going to see the great averaging of stories. He estimates using an LLM as a writing tool gets him 2 to 3x faster now, helping him meet personal requirements and quality bar. Okay. I mean, hey, I could be wrong. I'm fine being wrong. That's saying that I am absolutely incorrect. Gene could not be happier, at least for himself, because in addition to being faster, he also feels working this way is more fun. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, right? He's a happy dude, but he's terrified for his teenage kids. Interesting. I fell in love with JS in the 90s, fell out of love with it in the early 2000s. AI feels the same. Vibing, it's going to turn into an even bigger mess. Seen many next big things. Was VR in 80s and 90s, etc. AI is rocking that meme space and feels. Yeah, I generally agree. The thing is I truly do hope you know that I'm not anti-AI. I'm not anti-AI at all. I think there's a lot of good things you can do with it. It's just that I'm not convinced. I'm just simply not convinced that it's something that's fantastic. Yeah, I'm terrified for young people too, because we are training a lot of them to be hopeless and useless. Yeah, facts. Anecdote: I watched the pod scene from the original black and white 50s version of the movie. I love this. By the way, Invasion of the Body Snatchers is such a good show. I was about 8, and wow, that was traumatizingly scary. My wife has also been watching horror movies since she was about 4. Same here. I watched The Exorcist when I was 4, and we share a deep love of horror. Probably because we're all messed up from childhood. Yeah. We've seen the same plot play out for legal profession and writing and editing jobs where LLMs are threatening to out-people the people. Let's watch the same movie again in some genres closer to home. Just a few days ago, our illustrious head of AI, Rashib Mehrotra, was showing me a classifier and multi-class prediction model that he had trained and deployed in a single day with ChatGPT. He said it would have been a 6-week university senior-level intern project a year ago. This is affecting data science too. Interesting. Let's just believe I see some of you saying I don't even believe this. Let's just believe this is true. A very quick counter I have to this, which is the thing produced something that is already well known and researched. I'm sure this man, Mehrotra, knows his stuff. It's an echo. It's an echo of something that already exists as opposed to something that's new. So, sure, maybe it is a 6-week project for a senior level project / intern project a year ago. It's affecting data science too. I'm curious if it's actually affecting data science or if it's just making it more approachable for data science. And only if you have this level of knowledge, I mean, there's all sorts of things that they're very obvious with AI. AI can most certainly take a master and give him an additional superpower, a quickness. I've seen it myself, but I also found myself struggling with some things. I realized that I was also producing worse things at the exact same time I was producing more things. So I'm very curious how well this actually scales. Is this a one-off thing that an arguably master of AI can do by himself, or is this something that is distributive and actually works across all people? Can a senior level intern, can this senior level, university senior level / intern, can they do this in a day? An old friend, great programmer and mathematician who left AI for quantum computing for a few years, is back to programming. He confided somewhat excitedly that even though he does a lot of programming, he doesn't consider himself a programmer anymore. He said he's more of a reviewer, coach, and nanny, something like that. He makes ChatGPT do all the work, and he just crafts prompts and reviews the output. I really, I feel like I've never given this a real shot where I've fully let ChatGPT do that. Like, how far can you actually get with this? You know what I mean? Like, how far can you actually go? I get the idea that you could potentially do some sort of really small pet project, but could you get far enough inside of a real code base? Write me a tower defense in a game in Zig. Try it. Well, try it is like a multi-day attempt at trying to do something. This is pretty much my job. But I work in Rails, which is absurdly opinionated. Really? So you just use ChatGPT to write all your code? A lot of it? Really? 80%? You know that meme with Seymour Skinner saying, "Am I wrong or are the kids out of touch?" Sometimes I'm wondering if I'm out of touch. I feel like I'm correct. But I'm always willing to be quote unquote out of touch. The kids are wrong on this one. To me, it just seems like when I'm writing my own code, I have so much ideas of where I'm going and how big it is that I'm not sure if I could write it, right? Because English is such a terribly nuanced language that writing has so much implications to it that describing what I want to write in English feels impossible. Honestly, I find it a better version of Google. I buy this. This seems reasonable. I might use ChatGPT to draft a POC, but I would never build anything in production with it. It could be skill issues. This just feels so hard. This just feels so hard for me to actually believe that you would like this exists, that you could just coach ChatGPT all day to program for you. Yes, you can. Can you? All right. Tomorrow we're using ChatGPT. Humans aren't special. I fully disagree with you. I think this is one of those. I think whoever who said that. Dang it, it's like a different color on my two things. Someone just said humans aren't special. I just fully disagree with you on that one, right? Humans are extremely special. Humans are wildly intense. And this is a very materialist way to look at life, which is that humans are just neurons firing. And that's it. We're not banning someone over that. Come on, shut up. I'm just not reductionist. It does not equal materialist. Yeah, but I mean, it's okay, meatbag, but like this is the meatbag argument. It comes from materialism. I mean, that's the hierarchy of where this all comes from. I just don't buy it. I'm just not. Humans are special. Source humans. Source. Trust me, bro. Yeah. Well, it's just cells. Is it? Then why can't we just why can't we just make cells and make life? Just make life, bro. Come on. If you just have a little bit of dino DNA, we should just be able to just create life, right? No, we can't. We can't make life. That's the thing, is we can't. No, we don't. See, you guys keep saying that, but what you guys don't realize is that whenever life is being made, it's using like an egg. It's using like a chicken. It's using something. We're piggybacking off of life. We're not actually making life. We're making versions of it. We're just using a piggyback to go somewhere. We can't make life. We can only jump on something. Come on, bootstrapping. We have a bootstrap problem. We have a strong bootstrapping problem, for sure. Because let's just be real. If we could create life, you know what the first thing we would do? I mean, dude, let's just be real here. There would be like dudes with statistically unaveraged Ds and multiple of them. Okay, can we just be real here? Cat girls and dicks all day long. That's all that's gonna happen. Cat girls, dicks all day long. Huck to a biobots all day long. Okay, we all know how degenerate it would be. It would be immediately degenerate. Come on. All right. Anyways. Let's keep on going. That resonated with me, since I, too, have been replaced by a bubble bath plant pod, a human who pretends to be a programmer, but is, in fact, outsourcing almost all of it. I'm not even sure. I literally don't even know what that means, to tell you the honest truth. Naturally, when I say make ChatGPT do all the work, there's plenty of coding we still do by hand. What I mean is that chat first is the default, and writing by hand with completions naturally is our fallback plan. My quantum friend and I are both finding much less need for that fallback recently. Yeah, you know what? Naturally, I will say that I'm out of date here, and I will give it a shot. I will genuinely try to write a program with ChatGPT first, and maybe maybe I have prompt skills. Maybe I'm just a huge prompter. Just a real prompter problem. Since then, I have found several other amazing colleagues who have also adopted the coding strategy to accelerate themselves. And frankly, it has been a bit of a relief to hear confirmation coming from so many great people that chat first programming is indeed a new thing. How much, really? All right, how many people have seen me and how fast I program? Is it going to be that enjoyable? Will I be able to go that fast? Blazingly no? You're way faster at making mistakes. Hell yeah, brother. Your butthole controls the mouse. I'm not even sure what that means. Different type speed? In the beginning, complexity grows, GPT won't keep up. And that's what I worry, is that I have it all in my head. You're not fast, but you're a true programmer. Huh, interesting. Copilot used to write all my finest bugs. It wrote all my finest bugs. Honestly, my biggest long-term time sinks were all Copilot bugs. Like all of them. Like all of them as of recent. That's why I quit using it. Is that I realized I just kept getting just co-piloted, and I just got so pissed off at it because it like was so almost correct. But when I put it all together and all these little things, like the amalgamation of it became seriously incorrect, but it was so hard. It was so hard to catch where it went wrong. Laughs an old man. I guess I'm an old man. I must be an old man. I'm an old man. I agree. Okay, we'll keep on going. Is it really new? Clearly, this new thing has already been around in other domains, since even the original ChatGPT was able to replace a lot of human labor. But for coding, let's be serious here. Chat coding has sucked. It would often be more effort to coax the LLM into working solution than writing it yourself. With the previous model generations, you feed an 800-line source code file and ask for substantial changes. Even ChatGPT 4 Turbo, Omni, Face, which many of you are still using right now, will often run amok. Well-argued hallucinations, code that fails to parse, snarky code left as an exercise, empty functions, designs leading you in circles going nowhere, unexpected refactorings, missing code, and all the manner of other frustrations. You've probably tried it yourself. You know what I mean. So chat programming has been sort of a bust. Nowadays, most people equate AI coding assistance with code autocompletes. They think of chat as something you use when you're just starting out, maybe as faster doc search. In fact, there's a widespread perception that chat is for junior developers and becomes less useful as you gain experience. And the truth be told, this wasn't entirely inaccurate prior to mid-May. The models weren't quite there. But in the past 6 weeks, things have been very, very different. And you, my friend, are missing out. The perception that chat is just for juniors is now flat-out misconception. One that I pray is stone dead in your heart by the end of this post. So ChatGPT 4.0 is S tier? He's spot on, to be honest. It's really that much better, or is it Cloud? Is it some other one? Nougat. You know, I don't know if I want to allow this. I don't know if I want to allow this one because it almost feels like it's kind of funny that I don't allow NuGet modules. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say NuGet modules is inappropriate for this stream. Get your C# out of here. Get your C# out of here. Very inappropriate. All right. Chat-based programming, which I will preemptively label chat-oriented programming, CHOP, or just I like COP better because I suspect I'll be to be saying it a lot. I suspect I'll be to be saying it a lot. Maybe you should quit letting ChatGPT write your sentences. Is a brand spanking new phenomenon. Like seriously, it's just over a month old. I first noted it when ChatGPT 4.0 came out, which was mid-May. You remember that big manufactured drama, right, about OpenAI 4.0 GPT model supposedly having Scarlett Johansson's voice? Yeah, that's the one. I remember, not supposedly. Supposedly is a real big stretch of the imagination here. Can we all just remember how definitely Scarlett Johansson's voice that voice was? That was extremely Scarlett Johansson's voice. The model changed everything about programming overnight. When ChatGPT 4.0 dropped, it could suddenly edit a 1,000-line source file and a figure that encompasses 95% of the source files in most repos worldwide with tremendous precision and faithfulness to the original, leaving the untouched parts of the file 99.9% diff perfect. Every once in a rare while, I see a drop a space or a character, or slightly misindent a line, but that's it. From what I've seen, Google Gemini and Anthropic's Cloud 3 Opus have also cleared this hurdle, which makes multi-model programming a good bulwark against hallucinations and a great way to select the best candidate for a design. Just feed your query to all of them, make them fight it out. It's a common CHOP technique. Okay, so let me just get this straight. You take a 1,000-line source file, you hand it to ChatGPT 3, to Cloud, and to Google Gemini. Gemini says something about a minor and C++ and how it's inappropriate to show them. So you discard Gemini's result along with Black Vikings and Black Popes. And then you go to just ChatGPT versus Cloud, and you're going through it. And so then you diff the 1,000-line file against the original and against each other, and you use that as a way in which you determine who has the best one. And then from there, you go and do any hand edits if needed. Okay, I guess we'll try this. We'll try this. We'll try this live demo. Live demos aren't fun. No. I'm gonna just do it tomorrow because I gotta do it for like 4 hours. You have to do it for like 4 hours because if you try to do it any shorter, it's just gonna turn into a nightmare. It's just all it is gonna be a nightmare. So programming has leveled up into a problem of explaining your situation to an LLM using English, by the way, or any written language, which is terribly inaccurate. That is slinging context, since you'll want to include a lot of information from different sources and then merging the output back into your code base. We'd better get a tool for this. Chop chop. Upgrade. All right. This suggests that Devin should be able to work then. So, real question. If this works and Devin exists, why doesn't Devin improve Devin using Devin? Why are they hiring human software engineers? It sounds like a bunch of bullshit to me. A big model upgrade was life-changing for people who have already been coding in raw ChatGPT, which still is the world's most used and most popular AI coding assistant. ChatGPT coders have been using Chop style for a year or more, but it has been only the bravest, most patient, and dumbest of the early adopters, whereas now it's ready for everyone. Of course, raw chat involves a lot of manual assembly of context in and shoveling responses out and can get tedious, and so many programmers using coding assistants instead. I mean, I guess business is good if you are the Control, C, and V keys on the keyboard, or whatever that one is, Command, if you're into that sort of thing. All AI coding assistants benefit from this upgrade too. It has certainly been huge for coding assistant Cody, which is, in my opinion, has the best chat due to our automated context assembly engine, which saves you from having to explain your code base every time. Plus, Cody Pro lets you use both GPT-4 and Cloud and others, and you can spot check all your work with another LLM. Is this just a hashtag ad? Are we getting hashtag ad right now? To be real, I've heard amazing things about this guy. I've heard very amazing things about this guy. Is this the sponsor segment of the stream? And today's sponsor is SourceGraph. I honestly found this article to be extremely weak. And it feels like there's absolutely no critical thought given. Honestly, I'm actually pretty disappointed in general about this entire article. I mean, how many guys have you seen me? Okay, quit suggesting C# package manager. I don't know. You're punching up in theory. I don't do punch up and a punch down. You know this by now. I do not do that. I do not subscribe to that. I think it's a horrible way to live your life. If you find something wrong, it is wrong. You don't justify why doing something is not wrong because of somebody's status. Okay. If stealing is wrong, it's not okay to steal from somebody who has 10x. It's just if it's wrong, it's morally wrong. Stop justifying bad behavior. I really, really have a very hard time. I do read the messages. Okay, guys, stop it. This was funny, but it's not funny anymore, okay? This is not funny. Stop it. Chat, you're out of control with, dude. Okay, Nougat. Look at my brand new mod. My mod of chaos getting in here. Mod of Chaos is in here just behaving. Let's go, Mod of Chaos. I'm actually having a really hard time because I never talk bad about things. It's like one of my rules. It's one of my rules is that I never talk bad about what I'm reading or watching. I don't like to talk bad about a person. I don't like to talk bad about of these things. Like, I have no problem disagreeing, but this is surely disappointing. I feel like this is a complete sellout move. I feel like you're completely selling things. I feel like you have given up everything just to sell something. That's how I read this, and I'm exceptionally disappointed by this article. I think this article is shockingly trash. I think it's written extremely uninterestingly all the way through. It feels like I'm reading ChatGPT all the way through. There's nothing amazing about it, and it just feels like an ad, and it feels like you're having no counter arguments ever. You're just like, oh yeah, it was hard, but now it's great, and everyone should do it. And there's only one. It's just like, this feels very upsetting. Anyways, I'm sorry for talking bad about anybody. Real talk, I'm sorry for ever talking bad about anybody or anything. I really don't ever wish to do that. I'll make fun of Devin all I want. Apologize to Hassan. I just said I don't like the guy. Then I proceeded to say that if he was caught in a scandal, I would not say a bunch of mean things about him. And if he was found to be guilty, I would say, yeah, he's guilty then. I feel like that's like the most appropriate and best way possible. I'm just upset. I'm upset because this is selling people on so many stuff. It's writing this crazy article that's making people feel absolutely horrible about the future. It's making it's you know what? It's not the death of the junior developer. You know what this article really is? This article represents the death of people wanting to become junior engineers. This article is actual gatekeeping. This article actually prevents the next class of people from coming in because it steals from them the worst thing to steal out of all things for people that are new, which is hope. And you should never steal hope from somebody. And it just pisses me off. And that's what I think I'm feeling. And I absolutely hate that. And I don't use the term gatekeeping because gatekeeping is largely a stupid term, but in this case, it's actual gatekeeping. And I'm actually pissed off about this. This is a terrible article. You have opportunity. You have hope. Get good at your craft. Discover anything you like about it and dive deep into it. And I guarantee you that if you push long enough, push hard enough, you will find not only a job you enjoy, but you'll be able to have actually some sort of satisfaction in what you're doing. So please don't buy these kind of articles. They are absolutely horrible. Sorry, dude, I'm like super pissed right now. Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. I'm livid. All right. You know what? Not only am I done with this article, I'm too upset to continue the stream for the day. I'm just going to call it today. The name is the Primogen.